Once David Carter had everything. A company built from sweat and sacrifice. A wife who believed in him. A son who looked at him like he was invincible. But one mistake. One betrayal. And in the blink of an eye, it was gone. David stares at his cracked phone screen, pressing his wife's name, Lisa. No answer. Voicemail. David, please stop calling. Ethan and I need stability, and you can't give that to us anymore. I'm sorry. David exhales, staring at the screen. His thumb hovers over his son's contact, but he doesn't press it. His vision blurs with unshed tears. A gust of wind blows through the alley, and for a moment he lets it carry away the last of his pride. Walking the streets aimlessly, David passes a restaurant where families are laughing inside. His stomach growls, but he keeps walking. He glances at an ATM, knowing his bank account is empty. A man bumps into him, muttering a half-hearted apology before disappearing into the crowd. David clenches his fists, his breath ragged. He stops at a bridge, looking down at the black waters below. The world feels heavy. His chest tightens. It would be so easy. One step, one moment, and the pain would be over. A car horn blares. He turns. A homeless man, James, mid-50s, watches him from a distance, shaking his head. Don't do it, man. David looks away. Lost everything too. Thought about it once. But you know what I learned? David finally looks at him. As long as you're breathing, you can start over. David swallows hard. Then slowly, he steps back from the edge. David walks into a construction site, his last shot at finding work. His shoes are worn out, his hands shaking with hunger. An older man, Joe, mid-60s, watches him from under a hard hat. You looking for work? Anything. I just need a chance. Joe studies him, seeing the exhaustion and the quiet plea in his eyes. Then grab a shovel. No shame in starting from the ground up. David hesitates, then grips the shovel like it's the last rope keeping him from drowning. He digs. The blisters come fast, his muscles scream, but he doesn't stop. Later that night he collapses onto a cot in a shared dormitory. His body aches, but for the first time in a long time, he feels alive. David wakes before dawn, shovels dirt under the burning sun, eats alone, sleeps exhausted. Days turn into weeks. His hands toughen, his posture straightens. Slowly, something shifts inside him. He remembers what it means to fight. One afternoon, he notices a younger worker struggling with blueprint calculations. He steps forward instinctively. Here, let me help. His fingers trace the paper. Numbers, lines, it's all still there, buried beneath the failure and regret. The worker stares, impressed. Nearby, Joe watches with a knowing smirk. Joe calls David into his office one evening. You're no ordinary worker, Carter. I had a company once. And now you're here, proving you're more than a man who fell. I need a project manager. You in? David's breath catches. A second chance. He grips the chair's edge, emotions storming in his chest. Yes. Yes, I'm in. Years pass. David works his way up. He learns from his mistakes, builds something stronger. His company rises again, not from arrogance, but from resilience. One day he stands in front of a brand new skyscraper, his name engraved in shining letters. He runs his fingers over it, eyes stinging. David? He turns. Lisa stands there, their son Ethan beside her, now a teenager. I saw your name on the building. Dad, you did it. David stares at them. A lifetime of loss and lessons behind him. He swallows hard, then steps forward, placing a trembling hand on Ethan's shoulder. No, son. I just never gave up. Lisa wipes a tear. Ethan grips his father's hand. The three of them stand together, the past behind them, the future waiting. Life will break you. It will test you. But as long as you keep standing, you can rise again. No matter how far you've fallen.